And we were in a dance floor, waiting for the sunrise. So before even the sun came up, we see hundreds of missiles coming from Gaza. In the beginning, we didn't understand what's happening. Like, we saw the missiles, but the music kept going. We weren't really focused. We weren't really focused in the situation. But at some point, we understood that we have to really, act fast. So we packed our stuff and we went to our friends and we helped them pack all the tent and chairs. And everyone just panicked. 6:30, hundreds of rockets in the air, over 3,000 ravers. Everyone's going to their cars. The police took the mic, told everyone to just go home because it's really not safe to stay under a shelter. It's very important for me to mention that it's not the first time that we see missiles. Okay, Israel's been going through this reality for years. Missiles been coming from Gaza that are launched by either Hamas or jihadist groups or just want to eliminate Israel. Now they know it's not going to win some kind of battle, but it's just to provoke us. So usually the drill is we go under a shelter, after 2 minutes we go out and we continue our day. But this was different. After 30 minutes we see this massive attack happening. We go out and all the cars went different places. There was a big traffic, everything was jammed. But then there was this pivot point where we were going out and you see people running and yelling to us to do a U-turn. They're yelling at us and shouting, guys, do a U-turn, it's not safe now. And they're not even telling us why. And I looked at them and asked, what's happening? They don't ask, guys, just do a U-turn. A few seconds later, we see a car coming that direction, and you see a girl in that car trying to brake the car, trying to stop. And she can't. So we come closer, and we help her out. We open the door for her. As we open the door for her, she slides out, bleeding to death. She was shot on her left foot, top of her left knee. We calmed her down. She was all petrified. We tried to tell her everything's going to be fine. But that's when it really hit us, when you see people yelling, do you turn? Then you see a girl being injured. She's dying in front of our eyes. We're helping her out. We're about a dozen of us next to her. My friend was going to get her water. By the time we came back, we heard gunfire, heavy gunfire, AK-47s. Now, usually, as someone who did the military for 3 years in a combat unit, I know how to distinguish between a friendly fire and not friendly fire. Now, this was definitely not a friendly fire. This is usually terror groups that use AK-47s. It's a Russian weapon. IDF does not use that. That's when they really hit me. So you have all that deadly triangle. Okay, missiles. You see this girl named Shani, and you hear the gunfire. My intuition said we have to go to the open fields and try to seek some kind of shelter. The ambulance was on its way to take Shani. By the way, it's very important for me to share. How did this happen to her? No one knew. Now, in retro, how did I know this? From her family and everyone. She was one of the first ones to leave the festival together with her friends. When they left up north to exit the festival, they encountered terrorists. The terrorists surrounded them, and they started shooting at them. So they found this public shelter. In Israel, there are public shelters outside. In case there's a missile, coming from Gaza, they hide inside. A few minutes later, they go out. So they hide in the shelter. The terrorists saw that Shani and her friends were hiding in the shelter, so they shoot at the shelter, and they throw grenades in the shelter. All her friends died on the spot. Shani was brave enough to get out, being shot, and she had pieces of metal of all the, grenade. She ran to the car, and she drove back to the festival, and that's where we met her. So all her friends died. She was brave enough to get in that car, and we met her. She was all scared. They took care of her. The ambulance was on its way. We're in the open fields trying to figure what's happening. I see, and I'll never forget this image, I see people just running in the open fields like crazy. Running from something. I don't know exactly where they're running from. And I see this valley, like an empty river from far away, and I say, let's go to that direction. So before we duck dive, I see like the people running, but behind these people I try to see like what are they running from. And I see trucks, Toyota trucks, with Hamas terrorists. I didn't know at that time these are Hamas terrorists. I didn't know what's going on. But I see terrorists on these trucks, white Toyota trucks, like 3 white Toyota trucks under with machine guns, like shooting everyone like in a duck range. It was kind of a horror action movie. That was like a 2-second kind of picture in my mind, which I'll never forget. I duck dive, we're in the river, we're hiding, and we're under the bushes, under the trees. It was me with my friend Nadav, and a bunch of other random people, which I didn't know, but all of them came from the festival, and we all thought that being in this place, in this valley, beneath the range of all the shooting range, we thought it would be the best idea. As time went by, the shots became stronger and stronger. So we crawled outside of that river, going away from the festival, from all the hazard. While we're crawling outside, bullets were flying on top of our head, this close between me and my ear. So bullets were flying on top of us. We were all scared. We didn't know what to do. I didn't know where my friends were. My friend was calling his sister, telling her everything's going to be fine. In the meantime, all the press, all the media was all about there's a big invasion happening. I didn't even open my phone. I didn't tell my parents, nor like my mom, my dad. I didn't tell them where I was because I didn't want them to panic. I had this really deep belief in me that everything's going to be fine. Whatever is happening, we're going to come out alive. So I tell my brother to tell my mom that I'm somewhere in the north. I'm not even in this festival, so I don't want my mom to panic. And that's what we did for all these hours. I didn't say anything. Eventually, we managed to escape that area. But there's this one moment that a very dramatic moment with my good friend, because eventually I felt the responsibility that I brought him to this event with me, and I told him, I looked at him in the eyes and I said, Nadav, I am terribly sorry that I brought you here with me in the festival. And he told me that I'll thank you once we get out alive. We gave a big hug and we kept walking. So it was me together with other people in this festival. Like we're just walking like an exodus in an open desert. We're just walking and walking. In the background, when we see like what's happening in the back, you see black smoke, white smoke, like World War Z. Like you see you don't understand what even is happening. There's Iron Dome, Israeli Iron Dome, which is blocking all the rockets from coming into Israel. The rockets are falling on the sides. We're walking in the open desert together with other random people, which I didn't know. And walking, not knowing where we're going, and I think it kind of also saved our life, because if I knew what would happen, and if I knew there was an invasion, I might have thought that I could be a big hero and go back and save some people with me. If I would do that, I would probably risk my life as well. So we kept walking for almost 5 hours. Almost 5 hours. I never felt a feeling in my life where I'll faint. Eventually, my friend found this like a grapefruit field, and he found this fruit, and he just picked it up, and he forced me, Yoni, take this, or else we're gonna faint, and if we faint there, we'll either get kidnapped, or we get murdered or shot in the head by Hamas terrorists. So we didn't want to take the risk. We ate that, and we just kept walking, gave us enough energy. Eventually, we arrived to this village called Patish. Patish is a village 24 kilometers away from the festival. I didn't realize we were going to walk all that way. But we arrived finally. But that's when it really hit us, because we arrived together with other survivors, and of course everyone had his own individual experience. Each one saw different things. So we told the people that we saw there were over 200 people that survived together with us. We didn't know them personally, most of them, but we asked them, like, what did you see? Like, this is what we saw. What did you see? So we all shared kind of the puzzles. We put all the puzzles together. So you see one guy, everyone's crying of fear. One guy is telling me that he saw his friends being shot in the head in front of his eyes. He was in the bushes. He was hiding. He couldn't do anything to save his friend. Then you see a girl crying, telling me, Yoni, I saw two Hamas terrorists raping my friend my friend, in front of my eyes. She couldn't do anything because she was in the bushes. If she would say one word, they would do the same thing to her. These are Hamas terrorists that did these things to innocent people who just came to a festival to celebrate peace and love. They didn't ask for this whole attack. Now this is just an inch of what happened. And this is what, basically that was my experience.